Hey there! In this video, we're going to be learning the red belt for ukulele karate called When the Saints Go Marching In. Now, there's a couple of new things that we need to go over for this level. One of those things is a brand new chord, G7. So one of the major differences with this chord is that now we're adding 3 fingers onto our fretboard to create this chord. I'm going to go over the fingers in detail for that G7 chord. So let's take a look. The first thing we're going to do is identify string 2, fret 1. So here's my second string, and here's my fret 1. I'm going to take my index finger, and I'm going to place that right on there and press that down. Now, one of the things is that I'm going to have to rotate my hand in order to add the other 2 fingers, okay, which we'll see in a second. So from here, I want you to twist your hand towards the tuning pegs like this. Okay, so this is where we were, and twist it towards the tuning pegs. This side of my finger should be pressed up against this part of the ukulele. All right, and from there it's going to be a lot easier to add these 2 fingers. I'm going to take my middle finger and I'm going to find my 3rd string, which is up here, 3rd string, 2nd fret. So my middle finger is going to go right there, and the ring finger is going to go on the 1st string, also the 2nd fret. 1st string, 2nd fret, which is right here, and it's going to press like that. So see how much easier those fingers line up now that I've turned my hand in that direction. So try it in that order, adding your index finger first, twisting it, and then adding those fingers like that. Now, not only do you have to play this chord, but there are parts where you have to transition from one chord to the next. So from G7, we're going to have to transition to a C chord. Here's the easiest way to do it. If I'm on my G7, I'm going to lift my index and middle finger off, keep my ring finger on there, and I'm going to slide it down 1 fret. And look at that, we are at the C chord. So that is the easiest way to transition between G and then back to C. So before we even start the song, you might want to practice like I'm doing, going back and forth very slowly between those 2 chords using these correct fingerings. And that will ensure that when you do transition in the song, that it'll be a lot smoother and your fingers will be familiar with that movement. All right, the next thing we're going to go over is the strumming pattern. Our strumming pattern, and I'm going to demonstrate this on the C chord, sounds like this. Down, down, up, down, up, down, up. You could say down and count 6 times, starting on the downward strum. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll do that again. So down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And remember, the long down is the start of every measure, so that will help you keep track of how many times you are strumming a certain chord. So I'll play that pattern and then you repeat after me. Here we go. 1, 2, and ready, go. Let's try it on the F chord. 1, 2, and ready, go. So let's take a look at the song. So right off the bat, we start off with the F chord. And this is like a lot like Blue Belt Song 1, where we had that first bar of intro where we just strummed it 1 time. So the same with the F chord, you're just going to strum 1 time and rest through 3 counts. In those 3 counts, you're going to hear oh, when, the. Afterwards, we have the C chord played 6 times of the pattern down, down, up, down, up, down, up. Afterwards, we have G7 played twice, followed by C 2 times, and then F 2 times, then 1 C again, and then here we have two chords in one measure. So what does that mean? Well, we're gonna have to split up the pattern. So the F chord is gonna get the first half of our pattern, which is down, down, up. Afterwards, we switch over to G7, and that chord is gonna get the other half of the strumming pattern, which is down, up, down, up. So you also might need to practice that as well. I'm gonna play that a few times. So it's F, down, down, up, G7, down, up, down, up. Let's do it again. Down, down, up, down, up, down, up. So the transition between the G7 chord and the F chord might be a little bit tricky. So here's a little tip that you could try when going between those two chords. So for the G7 chord, I'm going to place my fingers on the appropriate strings. You'll notice that there's one finger that is actually the same for both chords. That's the index finger. The index finger does not change position at all for the G7 chord or the F chord. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold that finger in place when I'm going to the F chord, and I'm going to lift both fingers off and slowly add my middle finger to the fourth string, second fret. And there's my F chord. Let's try that again. So we're in our G7 chord. Okay. Lift everything with the index finger and then place my middle finger on that. So you also might need to take some time to practice that measure alone before adding it to the song. Finally, after that, we end up with a C chord of one measure. And that is the piece. Here's what it sounds like. 1, 2, and ready, go. Oh, when the saints go marching in. Oh, when the saints go marching in. How I want to be in that number. When the saints go marching in. And here is this piece with the accompaniment.